I'm joined now by Richard Burgon from Labour, of course, the Shadow Justice Secretary. Very good evening to you, Mr Burgon. Now, you've got this vote of confidence in the government tabled for tomorrow. I suppose you really didn't have any other option than to do this, but it's really a bit of a waste of time, isn't it? The DUP are going to support the government.
I don't think it's a waste of time. Let's see what happens tomorrow. We should be clear that we're in uncharted political waters. It's the biggest defeat a government has suffered in history. 230 vote loss. 118 Conservatives voted against Theresa May's deal, far larger than the rebellion even that John Major suffered. It's clear we've got a Prime Minister who can't command a majority at all in the House of Commons. She's not competent. She can't command the confidence of the country. She can't negotiate a better deal as it stands. It's time for her to go. All of the historical precedents would mean that she would do the right thing and go, but she's trying to hold the country to ransom, and it's not the job of a government to hold the country and the people to ransom. They're meant to be the servants of the people and not the hostage takers of the people, and she's just threatening people. If we don't vote for her rotten deal, there'll be catastrophe. It's just not right at all.
But, I mean, are you going to help her? She more or less saying now she's going to canvass opinion within the House of Commons. Now, I know you should say she should have done that an awful lot earlier, but we are where we are, and as Jean-Claude Juncker from the European Commission says, the clock is ticking. March the 29th looms. She wants to know what there is a majority in the House for when it comes to Brexit. Will Labour cooperate?
Well, what she should be doing is putting forward Labour's proposal for a deal of a strong single market relationship, a customs union and no reduction in workers' rights, environmental protections or consumer rights. If she does that, I believe she can command the support not only of the House of Commons, but can bring people together in the country and command the support of the vast majority of people in the country, both who voted Leave and Remain. As Jeremy said in his speech, next week we'll be putting forward amendments which set clear our proposals of how to get out of this situation. And I really urge all MPs of all parties, not only in the confidence vote tomorrow, but in the amendment that we bring next week, to look into their conscience and think, isn't it the case that Britain deserves better than this? Isn't it the case that this can't go on? She's really got to go. Clinging on in this historically unprecedented way is not a pretty spectacle.
And what happens with Labour if this no-confidence motion is defeated tomorrow? Then, according to your conference resolutions last year, you moved towards other options. That includes another referendum. Is that getting closer to being proposed by Labour?
Well, all options are on the table. Jeremy made it clear today in his speech that our priority is a general election so that the most democratic vote of all can take place. A vote on who people want to be their MP, a vote on who people want to be their governments, and a vote on who people want to secure a new and better deal with Europe. And, by the way, a new deal for everyone who's been treated badly across the country.
My question was, if that vote of no confidence fails, then you do, following the conference discussion, you then move on, as you said, other options on the table, and a second referendum loomed largest amongst those.
Well, all options are on the table.
What are the other options?
The other options are negotiating an alternative deal, going back to Brussels. The other option is the government doing the right thing and moving aside, as historical precedent suggests. Another option is the extension of Article 50 by the Prime Minister, by the way, because she's wasted over 2 years negotiating with her own party. There are a number of options, and yes, a public vote, a second referendum, is one of those options because of the mess the government has got us into. But our priority is for a general election. And if, by the way, we don't win this vote of no confidence tomorrow, then we may bring another vote of no confidence and another vote of confidence every time this Prime Minister, for example, suffers a humiliating defeat. And judging by recent weeks, it's happening very frequently. She's lost a number of times already since recess. This is a government that's running scared of democracy and turning losing into an art form. It's time for them to go. Let's have a general election.
OK, Shadow Secretary of State, thank you very much indeed, Richard Burgon.
Thank you.
Well, also on the